I guess we're here. Welcome to another marvelous episode of Overreaction Monday. I am the governor of college football, and with me is a guy that needs no introduction, the mayor of college football downtown, Nino Brown. How you doing, brother? Also, the Waves Never Do will be joining us in momentarily here. How you doing, brother?
What the hell? Some kind of technical difficulty?
Yeah, I don't know what that was, but it almost felt like a cold open.
Yeah.
Haven't done one of those
They
in
were
a long
testing
time.
us. They were trying to make sure we were ready.
Yeah, so
No, I'm excited. This is gonna be good.
Yeah, we got a lot of interesting topics that we're going to talk about today. I know everybody's going to be excited to see. If you haven't seen our Big 10 running back rankings, even if you have seen it, you'll be excited to kind of hear our thought process behind it. But before we get into that, we're going to get into some Big 12 storylines. We want to talk about Dave Aranda a little bit. I was really disappointed in Dave Aranda last season. Make no mistake about it. I had very high investment into the Baylor program a season ago. I thought that with Dave Aranda's expertise on the defensive side, I love the additions that they made offensively. I thought Sawyer Robinson was going to light it up this year. Too many times this year, Sawyer Robinson was playing from behind because the defense could not stop a nosebleed. So we're going to talk. We're going to talk about Dave Aranda a little bit. So they did get DJ Lagway. How do we feel about the revamped wide receiver room? Of course, Josh Cameron is entering the NFL. I'm sure Lagway would have loved to have him. Will Dave Aranda end up being like a Billy Napier 2.0? We're going to start with you. A lot to talk about here. There's a lot of layers we need to peel here because I don't know. I almost felt like he should have been fired last year.
Yeah, I was dumbfounded that they ran it back with him. Another sub 500 year, right? You wasted, a huge season out of Sawyer Robinson. He coming in. He was kind of one of the guys that we thought could be in the Heisman talk at the end of the season, and he started out hot fire. But
It wasn't like
you can only do so much when
right.
you can't. When your defense is letting up 50, you know what I mean. It's hard to win. And the reason why I say, I mentioned before when we talked about storylines that I think he could be Billy Napier 2.0 is because he comes with the tag of DJ Lagway. It seems as though Napier was on the end of his rope. He brought Lagway in and had that 1 year, and they were going to save his job. And I think this is another Dave Arnada's like, okay, we're going to try to. They wanted DJ before he escaped, to Florida, but I think the kind of the ace in the hole, or maybe could be the Joker is the offensive coordinator Jake Spavital. Is that how you would pronounce his name?
That's my guy.
They're pinning them together, right? They're pinning Lagway to him. And not for nothing, but he has had success. For whatever you want to say about the kid, he was successful. Oklahoma State was it Brandon Whedon, right? He had success with him at Oklahoma State. You see him do well with him. Johnny Manziel at Texas A&M. I mean, and it wasn't his fault that Kyler Murray left, but like he kind of played a role in bringing Kyler Murray to A&M before the whole fallout. It's just been a lot of bad juju surrounding Baylor for the last maybe year or two, and now you're taking whole new revamped wide receiver room, which it seems like they focused highly on offense because they had a lot of pieces missing, but I don't know that they really fixed the defensive problem. So now you're putting a kid who doesn't have as much experience back there, is coming off, a down season that they're going to need to rely on, or Dave Arnott is going to need to rely on heavily to save his job. I mean, if this starts out, say, I'm going to go and say 2-3, they might be having a phone call with Dave Arnott early and saying, homie, it's time. I don't know. I think it's going to be rough. It's a revamped room, right? Like it's a revamped room that's not really too much production coming out of. So what are you really giving the kid coming off a down season? It's kind of got the monkey on his back of the Billy Napier baggage, right? What are you really giving this kid to start out with? I don't know. I was kind of confused at how the whole situation went. They kind of waited on Lagway as well, but yeah, I'm giving him 5 games, and if it's not in a positive direction, I think he's gone.
5?
Wow. Wow.
Is that too many, Moon?
Is that what we're doing?
I was gonna say fall camp.
Whoa! 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 What's your beef? What's your beef with David Aranda? Talk to me.
I mean, my beef with Ballhead is this. Like last year, we had so high expectations of this Baylor school, and I think it's a lot of me still getting over that as we transition to a new offseason and trying to get that bitter taste out of my mouth, being real with you, you know. But is his job straight up tied to DJ Lagway and a revamped-ish wide receiver room? Yes, to answer your question, 100%. But I think he's on absolutely one of the hottest seats in the coaching carousel on planet Earth in 2026. It was that way, in my opinion, in 2025. And my thing is, when you are doing back-to-back like seasons, you have a 12-win season that's an outlier, and we don't want to have to deal with any more outliers if you're in Waco. We've been sitting here talking about walking in Waco for the longest. We have been a part of the Baylor Renegade as far as boosting this team up. But if you're talking about one of the key fixes for me, give up the keys. Give up the keys to the defense, because at the end of the day, you call it your calling card to be defense. And last year, we saw Baylor get absolutely torched. You wasted a Sawyer Robinson season, great season, and because the defense got torched, you added in the new defensive coordinator, Clanderman. But the offense is going to be essentially make or break, in this opinion. And DJ, I'm happy that he's getting a chance to go back to his roots. The storyline of it, amazing storyline to already start off college football season 2026. Amazing. But you got 2 years left, allegedly. You're arriving with high upside arm talent. You had, your bumps, of course, at Florida. But I just want DJ to be healthy. Can we just, where's his health at? And obviously there's going to be the elephant in the room, Nino, the touchdown to interception ratio.
I was ready.
I already know. You've been waiting to cook me. I already know. But they paired him with, I think they got Harley Gilmore. And then they got 21 other players in the portal. So it's not like they were dead in the portal. They got active a little bit. But this whole win now desperation mode is absolutely the case. And I think Lagway can save the seat if he stays healthy, if the offensive line clicks. Baylor's recruiting class and the portal class, I think it's pretty solid. I'll give it credit as where it's due. I'll take out my own, Baylor hate out of it. The Billy Napier 2.0 energy, though, is real, like what you said, 100%. But it's also real that Dave Aranda as a defensive wizard and a guy that's kind of up for debate right now. So that's why I pass it back to the game. Like, I think on Overreaction Monday on a Tuesday that if he survives 2026, it's only because DJ Lagway balled out.
Let me send a couple things you guys' way. First things first. Two defenses you really have to worry about in that conference. You got Texas Tech and you got BYU. Other than that, any defense in that conference can be chopped cheese, right? Or Swiss cheese, depending on where you're from. Jake Spavital in this offense, the air raid is such a quarterback-friendly offense. And I say it all the time, and I don't think I explained it enough. A 6 is 4 verticals. If you see a 6 in a play and it's just a 6, it's 4 verticals. 617 and a 619 is some type of fade out, right? A 618 is a stick. 66 is a hitch seam, which I talk about so often. And then you got to decide whether the running back is doing that option route, left or right, if he's doing a seam or if he's doing an angle route. 8 is a snag. A 91 is a shallow cross. A 92 is the mesh, which is the root of the air raid offense. The 93 is an H wheel. The 94 is a Y sail. 95 is the Y cross, another one of those pivotal plays. 96 is the curl flex. 98 is the smash. I'm sorry. If there was one thing that I could complain about Sawyer Robinson, that's something that he did in 2024 that he did not do in 2025. He didn't get through his progressions quickly enough. There's like a game versus West Virginia last year when I'm telling you he was getting through 4 progressions. He was getting through goddamn 4 progressions, and he didn't run the ball enough. He didn't show how athletic he was. DJ Lagway is going to run him. And we know DJ Lagway is going to run it. I think with a simplified system, he's not playing the same defenses that he was playing in the SEC. He should succeed. If he don't succeed, we're going to be upset because it's a friendly system. That offense is known to put up points, right? We're looking at the defense and say, Dave Aranda, it's on you. DJ Lagway, I think he went there knowing, well, hell, this system is a system that I can flourish in. Mm-hmm. I just got to use my skill set and my intangibles and not lose a game because there are going to be some games you got to go win. You got to have to put up some points. Think about the SMU game last year for Baylor, right? They got a lot of points were put up on them early. Sawyer Robinson had to go win that goddamn game. He had to go win that game. Mm-hmm. So he's going to have to do that. I think he can look polished in the system. He has to trust Jake Spavital. And some of that he did last year in Gainesville, where he throwing 5 interceptions and nobody saying anything to him, Jake Spavital going to say, come here, bro. Mm-hmm. Like, what are you doing? Like, you know what I'm saying? So
I can't even get to 5.
He's not going to get to 5. You just can't because in that conference, it's about points. And a lot of times it's first to 40. Like I said, the outliers and the anomalies are truly BYU and Texas Tech.
Baylor being in the middle of the pack in a loaded Big 12 conference they don't need to be there. It's either you got the cream of the crop at the top or you're just at the bottom. And then because being in the middle puts you just in a weird place.
It's not 2025.
Yeah.
Last year was wide open.
It was.
You know what makes you feel more at home, though? More comfort? Being at home. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm looking for with DJ Lagway this year. Mm-hmm. When you don't have the expectations of being at Florida and you don't have the expectations of being in the SEC, playing in 100,000 plus people stadiums every week, it starts to, zone in back to the core roots. And you know what it is when you go back home. You get that home cooking every week. You don't got to go that far. Family could come see you. They don't got to travel that far. Things start to line up more.
That type of love right there with the folks. You had a bad game.
There's questions from that because we heard a lot about DJ's dad being an integral part in the whole Florida process. So is dad gonna take a seat back and let DJ?
Hey, he can because he's taking a seat back on his recliner.
Yeah, I know. True.
Failure brings humility.
Yeah, sometimes. But we've also seen guys like LeVar Ball really didn't bring any humility. He kept chirping. So you just don't know.
Right.
We talked about Dave Aranda, being a defensive guru or whatever. Maybe he is a little more on the Brent Pry scale. Where I'm great defensively.
I see what you did there.
Good at it when I'm the head coach. You know what I'm saying? So maybe Clandon could take his Kansas State style and a couple of dudes that he took over. I think he took. Did Cobbs go with them? Daniel Cobbs? I'm pretty sure the safety from Kansas State came with Clandon to Baylor. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. But
you're normally right.
Can DJ take the we were talking about this guy possibly being in the Heisman talk last year, right? And before the season started, to throwing the most interceptions in the SEC.
Right.
That's a dramatic fall off. Now there were a lot of factors in that. I get it. And yes, you're going from the pitter-patter offense at Florida to the air raid, at Baylor. It should help him. But again, is Clandon going to be able to do enough in year one with enough of his guys and leftovers from last year that were very bad, bottom of the barrel? I think they were bottom 25 in almost every defensive category, right? So that means that DJ is going to have to put the team on his back, like you mentioned. I don't know if he has amnesia. Like, you need a quarterback to have amnesia. Can he have amnesia from last season? Okay, this is fresh. I'm home, but that first pick he throws, is that going to trigger
Men in Black, bro?
Is it PS? Yeah. He's got to do what he does. He's got PTSD, dude, and it's going to. Whoop! Oh man, did it again. Britney Spears, what are we doing? So that's why I think this is DJ Lagway and Dave Aranda kind of tied, and that for me is one of the biggest storylines in the Big 12 because, like we mentioned, this isn't last season. This isn't everybody's game. There's about 4 or 5 teams that got a stranglehold on this conference, and it's for them to fuck up. Pardon my
absolutely.
It's for them to mess it up. So DJ and Dave got a D&D, and we ain't talking Dunkin' Donuts. DJ and Dave, they need to get things running in Waco and figure it out the rip. Like they got to get on their horse and saddle, woo-ha, and come out guns blazing.
It seems like he's comfortable though around Dave. I will say that. Like I'll give that credit. It does seem like he's comfortable around him. Beyond just moving to the school, their schedule is freaking brutal. And I'm not about to be sitting here playing pity pat cute in the off season, trying to like convince myself that that's not the case. When we get to August, we're gonna be sitting here talking about all the other teams in the Big 12, and we're gonna look at Baylor and we're gonna be like, sheesh. When we look at their schedule, and it's gonna be up to them to see if the changes work. I think it's a good hire for the Clanderman, but it's because I think if he gives up control of the defense and just let that man cook, I think they'll have a better chance.
I think Clanderman does not come there without some sort of, maybe guarantees is the wrong word, but it's still difficult if you are a head coach that's offensive minded and there's an offensive coordinator not doing his job. I like what we seen in Buffalo. Sean McDermott is a defense coordinator. He couldn't stop meddling with the defense. Like he just couldn't stop. So that'd be interesting.
Could it be also not drone shot view? Mm-hmm. Could it be that it's not that Dave Aranda, is a bad defensive mastermind? It's that the Big 12 offices caught up to it and they said, "Oh, that's what you want to present to us? All right, let's see how we can cook and finesse this." I think that could be a situation too.
I think I watched about 9 Baylor games last year until I just absolutely got sick of it, and I was just like, I'm done. 3 and outs were a big thing. The TCU game, right? They had it was close in the end, but like TCU dominated time of possession. Mm-hmm. Like Baylor had a few 3 and outs. TCU would have a long drive. Joshua would say, "Oh, this what we doing?" He dinked and dunked. That defense was tired. So, like I said, it wasn't all on Aranda last year. But I think the games that stand out, that Auburn game, the lack of adjustments. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you going to continue to let Arnold, you know what I'm saying, run wild.
Run up the gut on you?
Yeah, you're not going to make any changes or any adjustments. So, I don't know. I'm interested to see where things are in Waco. I've had this good luck Chuck thing going on. I'll be high on the team. I'm just a year early. So I wonder if this is like a good luck Chuck situation. But the Big 12, like you guys have been saying, it's sturdy this year.
Yeah.
We have some legit teams in that conference. And I think Houston is one of the ones we haven't talked about much, but I am buying a lot of stock in H-Town. I'm telling you, I'm buying so much stock in H-Town.
Hey, the writing's been on the wall for the last couple of seasons now. Yeah. Ask LSU.
All right, so let's have more discussion. Can the Cougars claw their way to the top of the Big 12? Retention of Kalani Sitake, is BYU quarterback Bachmeier next Big 12's Diego Pavia in 2026? And I really like this question. I love this question. BYU has really been turning in the right direction. You see that this team is built the right way. It's built to run the ball. It's built to play amazing defense. And we know that a quarterback in the right system, that growth, it can work one or two ways. Sophomore slump, or, oh, no, this kid is who we thought he was. And he's even more comfortable in the system. How we feeling about BYU? We'll start with you this time, Mo. How we feeling about BYU this year?
Oh, man. Look, I'm trying to keep my composure because it's only spring. However... The writing's on the wall, though. You got to look at like some of the fine print, and the first fine print I look at is the Monster long-term extension. That man was out there eating Pop-Tarts, beating Brent Key and my team. And Kalani Sitake actually came back in that game, and they got the deal done. North of $9 million a year. NIL war chest is like shining right now. So now you start talking about revenue sharing. I'm like, dang, well, the Cougars are already at the top when it comes to the paycheck and that cut at the end of the year. You talk about the momentum that we're carrying into 2026, the AP attention that we got all throughout the year, even though they kind of wanted to misplace us. I bet the farm on a teenager. He's a teenager. The team that you said with Vandy in the comparison with Diego Pavia is spot on in the comp as far as like spirit and the nature of it, because both of them have that gritty dual threat chaos agent to them that punch above their weight class. Bear is definitely a different build, but him as his sophomore season, when he already threw over 3K, I'm looking at him I want him to take more vertical shots. I want him to get better with the pocket presence. They got returning skill. You talk about Kelly, what's his name? Nino, how you say it? Papinga or something? Yeah, I think their defense should take steps. So he'll be in favorable positions. I think they're a top 3 Big 12 team heading into 2026. And I didn't look at that any different at the end of 2025. Like, nothing's really changed for me. I had them high. They always stumble in certain spots, which makes it ugh. But in short, I don't want to take all day. Kalani Sitake's deal was masterful. The NIL plus stability that they got going on right now is actually fire. Bear, I think if he can have poise under pressure this year, I think that was his calling card in his freshman season. If he could continue that, I don't think there will be no sophomore slump. And the expanded playoff talks is not happening, at least for 2026, but 2027 and beyond, I think BYU got some loaded guys in that room. So the future is bright at BYU.
Nino.
Yeah. This kid went from putting on proactive to throwing touchdowns to Chase Robinson. Like, let's keep it real. Like, he was supposed to be the stopgap till Ryder Lyons came, and he might make Ryder Lyons sit the bench, right? And the only reason, like, Ryder Lyons on a mission, right? So like he was just he transferred here with the chance that he might get the job. Damn it, ran away with the job. My guy Andy was like, "Yo, this dude's gonna stop," and he told me, "There's a good, very good. I'm here, and he's gonna win the job." And he as per usual was right on. And Bear took it. I say Pavia because like we mentioned, like, it's that moxie, that swag. Like, they're a team that, yes, they have a running back. Yes, they have a tight end that's legitimate. They had a Chase Roberts. What they're going to do to fill that in at wide receiver, we'll have to see. I know that Tiger's there. Maybe Tiger steps up, his brother, and can be a threat. But this kid, like, they kind of move as he moves, right? Like, he puts that Rocky Balboa like swag to him. Just goes out there. You ain't gonna outpunch me. When I'm in the game, and my number, whatever it is, 98. I got some weird number. You got some strange number, doesn't he?
47.
Yeah, I was gonna say some strange number. When I'm at 47, when you see 47, you know there's a chance that we can win this game. Dude, as a freshman, he was only 500 yards away from Pavia. He had more rushing touchdowns than Pavia did on less yards. Like, this is a kid like that was 18 years old. You know what I mean? And he was commanding an offense that he was probably figuring out on the fly. Now, Jay Hill's gone, and that's going to be an integral part of BYU and how they replace that coordinator-wise. But, dude, BYU was primed, and ready to go. They lost to one fucking team all year last year. They were undefeated.
No.
Oh, they were undefeated. And they was no Cinderellas. They were running away with the Big 12. And then one of those games, they were in it for, I don't know, 3.5 quarters. Texas Tech, 2 times.
Who did they lose to?
Texas Tech, both times. So agreed. Yeah. But
I had to say it twice because they lost both times.
That's what I'm saying. They lost to one team. That's it. That's the only team they lost to. And there was games that they were, in the beginning of the year, they were dogs. And flipped the script totally. So I think what BYU showing, we're investing. This man was getting courted by everybody. Like, Penn State was ready to throw the Brinks truck at Satake. And BYU said, nah, bro. It's not all about AJ Disbayanta over here. We're not just a basketball school. We're a football school, too. And we got a quarterback, and we got some movement. We're going to retain the guy that's brought his style and has been successful. LJ Martin's back, right? They got the running back back. Carson Ryan is back at tight end. He's going to be that dude that's going to pop. Like, this offense is clicking. They got some defensive guys that they do have to replace, and I think they got pieces in the puzzle. They hit the portal. I'm not sure how many guys in the portal they attacked. I think they got 2 or 3 guys. But I think got a guy from Cal, or maybe one of the guys left for Cal, or maybe vice versa. But I think BYU is going to be right up there with, again, Texas Tech and probably, Houston. Like we've mentioned, I think those are your 3, teams I think that I have at the top right now to begin with. But yeah, I think if you're not giving BYU any credit, then you didn't watch football last year. You didn't watch, this, when it was wide open. This is a team that said, okay, it was wide open. Nobody was giving a shot. They gave him a mouse hole. And then that Cougars crawled right through that mouse hole and said, Pie, coming up, Potty, we here. And we hit it for a long time because I think that recruitment process under Sataki in the past 2-3 years over there and what they've been able to get has been like Ryder Lyons isn't he the top quarterback or top 5 quarterback in his class? Going to pro.
Yeah, like that.
Going to pro. Like,
which is
what
crazy.
did you hear? Steve Young wasn't in the top 5 in his class. That was probably the last major dude coming out of Provo, right? Like, come on, bro. Like, I think BYU has turned the page, and I think they're going to be around for a while. And like you said, he signed a long-term deal with big-time money. Not SEC money, not Big Ten money. Right outside that door knocking on it. He's got his guy. They got their guy, and I think the Cougars going to be cooking. I don't think they're going to have to fight and claw. I think it might be a process where they're there. Just got to stick around. You know what I mean?
It's good
Be
for
what?
them.
Go ahead.
It's good for them. I think the exposure that they got in the bowl season showcased like how marketable that they are as a team. So that's gonna help them in the future. But how far is the ceiling? Because you still got that other NIL gold mine, oil mine out there in Texas. So if we lost to the winner of the conference twice last year, how far is the ceiling that we can go for BYU? I'll ask you, Governor.
Real quick. AJ Dabayeza got some money, bro. So the boosters are willing to pay.
They're willing to spend.
AJ going to the NBA. That some of that money's coming to the football program. If nobody in the portal, you know what I'm saying, they're going to disperse that money. Trust me.
Well, there is religion, there is money.
But
tax free too.
Yeah.
That's facts. But the college football playoff don't care about how much money you got. At least in that sense, to let you win when you got 2 losses against a team that beat you handedly twice.
Yes. This is my thought on BYU. I haven't been sold. I haven't. But my belief in Kalani Sitake as a program builder is really through the roof. I look at what they did in 2024. I say, okay, this team for real. They started out red hot. They was beating the brakes off of really good teams. The Kansas State game is one of the teams I thought about. They beat the brakes off of Colorado for like Shador's last game. I'm going to get a little bit nitpicky here. I'm ready for them to take that next step. We seen some games last year. The Cincinnati game, the end of the game score doesn't paint the whole picture of what that game really was. You got another one, Utah. Utah's a really good team. I have no squabbles about that. Arizona had every reason to beat BYU. I think that's just a really kudos to what Kalani Sitake is able to do. They barely beat Colorado, as I said earlier. I want to see this program take that next step. And it's sad they did only lose to Texas Tech last year. One of the games was closer. The other one was just a full-fledged blowout. The
championship was a blowout.
Yeah, the championship was bad. I'm just really interested to see. Well, actually, both of them were kind of bad. Then now that I think about it, because the regular season one was it close? And then Texas
it was close
Tech
to 3
wide open in the fourth
Texas
quarter.
Tech blew it out. Yeah.
So, I believe in Kalani Sitake. I do like Bear Bachmeier a lot. Like, forget me being a fan of L.J. Martin, the running back. He's an outstanding running back. The human being is what I'm a fan of. Like, we had an opportunity to talk to him last year at Media Day. So, I can't put my finger on it. I think Jaylen would probably call me a BYU hater. It's just something there. I don't know what it is.
Now, for not to be, well,
no. This is a healthy. This is a healthy conversation. Go ahead, bro.
For what some of the points, you got a kid that won the starting job at the end of camp, weeks before the season started. So he kind of got his feet wet as they were going. Not an excuse because they made that decision on to do it, but that was a factor. Guess what happens a factor this year? A second season for Bear Bachmeier, where guess what? He don't face Houston or Texas Tech.
That's beautiful.
They face Notre Dame. Now that's a game, but it's at home.
Right.
Speaking of them, you're right. They do. But they need to tap into the Marcus Freeman energy and say, we have to go undefeated or we're not getting in the college football playoff. Straight up. Because they have to have that mentality. That's what I feel like the next step and the next level is. And not just winning games, but actually, like, there's, like, last year, Arizona shouldn't have been in the conversation with you, bro.
Yeah. I agree
Like,
with that.
that's where we take the next step, in my opinion. You blowing teams
BYU
out
came back that
convincingly
game.
to where your resume speaks louder, so we don't have to have conversation when we get to December about, is BYU a playoff contender? Is BYU deserving? Is BYU there? We know they got pieces, and what you said about Bears is facts, bro. I think he could take the next step in his passing in the intermediate range and deep, like, especially with the changes on the outside. But last year we saw that he was up and down with that. He was still adjusting. I feel like he felt more comfortable running than he did passing in many games.
And that's natural for young quarterbacks at the NFL level and at the collegiate level.
One last thing about
He a
the
tank,
comparison. This was Diego Pavia's best year in 5 seasons. This was Bachmeier's first.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
And he's already got that same aura, putting up numbers at his premium. And this guy's doing it, on 83 octane. You know what I mean? He ain't even getting that top cat. He's getting that dirty fuel, and he's still out there cooking. So,
and shout out to Provo too, because the way that they built up Bear, like coming into the season, probably gave him, the momentum that he needed headed into the season. So it's one of those things like, I see this program has won, and they've won an awful lot the last 2 years. I don't know what it is. I just can't quite put my finger on it. But I believe you, too, when you guys say, hey, listen, Bears going to be the real deal. So I'm excited to see where BYU is at this year, and maybe I could be less of a hater. All right. So we're going to talk about Jimmy Rogers a little bit. We're going to switch gears. We're going to stay in the Big 12. We're going to talk about him. We know what happened to the Cyclones program. Pretty much, Matt Campbell said, good riddance. It's been a blast. Oh, by the way, I'm going to take some of your players. Bring them here. We're going to take them out to Happy Valley. Hey, shout out to SE. SE is in the building, man. That's my dog right there. He's always working. I love when I check on people, see what they're doing. He's one of the ones that's always working. So, how do we feel? They got Jaylen Raynor now, somebody that we've had the opportunity to see. We saw him last year, Kennesaw State versus Arkansas State. How we feeling about Iowa State in this program? Nino, we're going to start with you this time.
Come on, cook, Nino.
So I talked a little bit about Jimmy, Jimmy John over here before in the green room with you. I think this guy's still riding the success of South Dakota State. I still believe that he's riding that, but that's 2 years ago. You're trying to tell me that he warranted. I understand the program didn't have all the talent in the world. Okay, I understand that. But you warranted getting a new job because you did what? You had one of the worst offenses in college football. You were ranked 107th. You scored 22 points per game. All right. Zevi was your quarterback, but that's not my fault that you still sat on your hands and didn't hit the portal when everybody else was. Like, what did you have to offer? What? When the portal time come, that South Dakota State swag didn't have enough to pull people in? You know what I'm saying? But it was enough to get you a job. I said it to you in agreement. I think he won that job by default.
Yeah.
Because Matt Campbell was a late addition because Penn State couldn't get anybody to take that job. So he was going, who's next? We'll take the guy who had a little bit of swag from the year before, who's an up-and-coming. Yeah, I know he's only, 36 years old. I'm not saying he's trash, but we put a lot of these guys, I was a product of it, like J.G. Kiney. Like, they put on a little success at smaller programs, and then
we start putting that weight on them.
Right? Yeah, and we're still riding that. Texas State had a good year 1 year, but then the last 2 years hasn't been so hot. So you had one season of mediocrity, and it got you a new job. That doesn't normally happen in other professions, Is he going to figure out how to run the ball? Because that's going to be my question. Iowa State you can't just pass the ball. You got stripped down to the bare core. Now you're bringing in a quarterback who brings a little bit of that dual threat capability, but I think we're looking at an Aranda Lagway right over again. I think Rogers and Raynor's are tied. It's R&R, baby. And I'm not talking about Rolls Royce. They are tied to the hip as the success goes, or as the losses and negativity goes. It's going to be back to back because they're going to go, oh, look, the guy who's coming from South Dakota State had to stop real quick at Washington. No, look at him. He's at the big dogs. He can't. Oh, the guy from Arkansas State tried to step up to the big pro, to the next level, and he could get it done. I think Raynor will get it done. I think we saw Raynor kind of get more of a development last year, and we saw him going in directions. He was getting better with his cadence, getting better with going through progressions in his reads. Excuse me. I'm just not sold on Jimmy Rogers. I feel like they're giving Jimmy Rogers that Cliff Kingsbury, Lincoln Riley, Colin Klein type vibe.
Right.
But he ain't really proven nothing here. Those guys had proven something at the big level, Big Ten, SEC. This guy not. I'm sorry, but you was down in AAA. You did your thing in AAA. And then when you came and got called up to the minors, you batted 175. Well, we gotta trade you, and you're gonna leave leadoff for the New York Yankees next year, because that's pretty much like kind of what they did. Like, I just don't understand what warranted that. Like, if you bring this program Iowa State, and I will eat crow. If you take Iowa State, who's stripped down bare, right, and you brought what was ever left over, because again, it was the end of the portal season, it was the end of the coach. Like, okay. You turn them around, and you turn it around. I just haven't seen anything out of you at Washington State that made me go, that was impressive. Mm-hmm. There was one game late in the year that they were in. Was it Ole Miss? Did they play Ole Miss?
Yeah.
They were in that game for like 3.5 quarters.
They had a few games like that.
Yeah, Ole Miss kind of just said, all right, bro, I'm tired of playing around with you. And they just run away with it. But I'm not sold on this. And I think, like, if I'm an Iowa State fan or a booster, I got a lot of questions. Like, did you hit the panic button? You're like, was this a year where you could have just hit kind of promotion button and promoted everybody up for one season, kind of tried to see what you got, right? And then with it, because now you kind of put all your eggs in this basket, right? And hopefully it pans out, because if not, I don't know if you're going to be able to just shit can this guy and be able to get someone else next year that's going to have the same quote unquote buzz.
Wow, I think that was an amazing take. And before we get to Moon, I think because it was so late in the coaches' carousel, they say, look, we're going to take what we can take. Whatever happens, happens. We seen he had a competitive team last year in Washington State. If we're competitive, cool. If not, well, it's a one-year deal, and there's some coaches that should be getting promotions this upcoming season, and we'll see if we can find one.
6 years. 6 years they gave this kid? 6 years.
You know those contracts don't mean nothing.
I know 6 years. He's only making $3 million a year, but 6 years on a
they'll find those resources.
sub 500 season.
They'll find those resources in Ames. They'll get them up out of there. They're giving me not as bad, but Oklahoma State vibes. Like,
yes,
and I hate to say that about the team in Ames that that's so beloved. Moon, talk to us. How you feel about the hire? How you feel about them moving forward?
I want to take a toast to my Sprite to Iowa State fans, because y'all have had the most tumultuous offseason one can even imagine, and y'all are still standing. I watched the Dinosaurs documentary on Netflix recently, and it was fire, bro. I was locked in. This is not a promotion. This is just a segment. In the documentary, there was, a huge thing that just came in and just wiped out civilization. And the most unlikely source ended up coming and rooting up from the ground, and now that source is what championed the next great dinosaurs. Right? I'm trying to give it out without spoiling. So I look at that same situation as Iowa State here. You just had the Big Bang come out of nowhere, and my guy, my dude is gone. He is gone. The earth is wiped out. My earth is wiped out, shattered completely, falling to pieces out of nowhere. And then you mean to tell me that, like, I'm supposed to look around, I'm dazed, confused, and gut checked. What am I supposed to do? I'm latching on to the first thing I see. And that was Jimmy Rogers, like, in the situation. Did you see the AD after Matt Campbell left? The AD looked like he was about to cry in the press conference, bro. He was so shook up. Like, this whole situation is like gut-wrenching to have my guy leave for Penn State. And not only him, 50-plus players hit the portal. At this point, Jimmy Rogers has now become the new evolution of the dinosaur. And now we got to give him 2 years. I'm giving him 2 years minimum. If you overachieve this year and you hit a bowl game, it is a miracle. It is like you're the Stegosaurus. Like, you're a miracle. You're turning into an icon in my book because you overachieved and you did it faster than one can even imagine. You talk about portal. He hit the portal first. He said, I'm going to attack lineman, and then I'm going to attack quarterback. He got Jaylen Raynor. I seen Jaylen Raynor up close and personal. If you want to see a guy that can actually move around in the pocket, be explosive, use his legs, have an offense that you could feature around and be a centerpiece, expected week 1 starter, reuniting with his old offensive coordinator, now quarterbacks coach, he going to bring that veteran poise that you need for this stability for Iowa State. Is it going to work? They cooked this year. They cooked this year. But that's why I say it's a miracle. It would be like the Stegosaurus. It would be you doing some unthinkable things this year. But they hired him, Nino, I feel like, because the Big Bang just came out of nowhere and just blew up the entire earth. It blew the spot up. And now who can I depend on when times get great? Jimmy Rogers.
Jimmy Jam. I just, dude, I know that they got raided and the cabinets were bare and they had to go to like the soup's kitchen and get whatever they got. But their best guy that they're going to have is Omari Haynes at wide receiver, who was like wide receiver 4 for Tulane last year. He brought a guy, I think his name is Paps Blue Ribbon from Washington State with him. He has couldn't even get on the field last year. I think he was
just call that man PBR, bro.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And take out another, like everybody on that, one of the guys, and I'm not knocking anything, but one of the guys' most production came at Tarleton State. Like, that offense is brand new. This is like, you know, when you go to somewhere, a good job interview, or you go in somewhere, a conference, and they give you a sticker that says, "Hi, my name is." That is what it's going to be like for the first 8 weeks. Everybody's gonna be trying to figure out who's my roommate, who's my buddy. It's my buddy. It's like nobody's gonna know when. They're all brand new. Nobody knows what's going on. They're all fighting for a job. Nobody else is gonna be a starter. There is no definitive anything in there except the fact that Jimmy Rogers is my coach and he's got a 6-year contract. I feel like I'm killing the guy for no reason. I don't know. I did. When you win, I want you to earn it.
You like guys that can earn it. You want to have to be able to say. He been here, he been there, and this season he put up that. Like, it's hard to do that with Jimmy. I hear you. But I think if you look at what he got right now, that man had 50-plus players leave and hit the portal and then decided to get Jaylen Raynor. I think that's a good start.
That is I would give him that. That is a huge hit for him in year 1. And obviously you got to give him more than 1 year because you got to let him get his own guys through recruiting and through the portal. But, man, I think Iowa State's going to have a lot of offensive issues that they're going to have to figure out. And
facts. Hey, is that why you said that they remind you of Oklahoma State KT from last year?
Yeah.
But the problem was they had a coach that was checked out because the team didn't want anything to do with him anymore, right? So he was checked out.
That's a fact.
This guy's checking in. He's checking into the Roach Coach Motel, bro. He checked in. He opened up the shower. There was bugs inside. You know what I mean? He's like, I got to get extermination here. And I got to start all over. I think he's only returning like 12 guys on that team.
It was
12?
a cyclone that came.
With any kind of like experience and practice. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's rough.
It was a cyclone.
It was a cyclone, and I think it's still kind of spinning.
It's not gonna stop in the Big 12 this year. It's not, bro. The Big 12 is a machine right now.
They started out against Iowa. I mean, Southeast Missouri, Redhawks, whatever. But they started out against at Iowa, right? And then they play Utah 2 weeks later.
Cool. That's cool.
And then they play BYU 2 weeks later. Like,
that's AL sound right there. 3J.
It's just, it's bad news bears.
If he makes it to a bowl game this year,
dude,
no, get out of
here. Best coaching job in America.
Coach of the year. Coach of the year.
Yes, just give it to him.
I just checked my messages, bro. Jimmy Rogers called me. See how much years eligibility I had left. I told him I had one.
I always say, but I got one carry left in me, but I got one.
Well, I give you 119 route. And then that might be all I got left in me. The hand
I can run a mesh.
You can run a mesh.
I can run a
Man,
mesh.
give me a 26 counter. That's all I need, bro. 26
know if
counter. I get
enough.
about 7 yards, baby.
I ain't got enough meat on me to go across the middle.
Hey, that's hilarious, man. So let's talk about these Impact, FCS, and FBS players heading into 2026. Dino, let's start with you.
Let's see. I know Moon probably got a couple.
Oh, I got one right off the rip.
Oh, hold on. I got 4, but we'll go blow for blow. We'll go blow for blow, right?
Yeah, go bar for bar.
Let me see.
Blow for
Because
blow.
this is going to be on your list. Oh, we'll talk about Texas Tech, right? So I'm going to go with Alabama
Please don't
State wide receiver Jaylen Jones. I think there's a good possibility that I know we put him on the top of our list, one of the top spots on our list, Cody Aiken. But I think that he might get Jaylen Jones could possibly be wide receiver 1 for Texas Tech.
Possibly. That man will be wide receiver number 1. Mark my words.
Aiken had a good year as a 2. Now you know my man the Ginger. It's all on him to be the guy, step up with the most experience. But you're looking at a guy that 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns on just 50 receptions. I think that Jaylen Jones can stretch the field. I think you'll be able to see the versatility of Jaylen Jones, that he's not just a field stretcher. He can be a possession guy. He can run most of the routes in the route tree. And please don't press this guy at the line of scrimmage. Don't be stupid. Don't press him at the line of scrimmage because you will get undressed and look dumb. But, yeah, I think he has a very good chance to have a very good year in the Big 12. Is he a freshman? Or was he
I gotta look. But
I'm not sure. I
I
feel like he might be a freshman or a sophomore. But, yeah, I think Jaylen Jones is one of those guys. Instant impact. Like, within the first couple of weeks, you hear about it. He going for like 65 and a tutty. And you're like, oh, okay.
ridiculous.
Moon, you can
bro.
go. Go ahead.
I'm gonna piggyback off of you just because I feel like this kid, when we get to Big 12 media days and they be like, who's gonna be breakout player of the year? He's gonna have a high chance to be there. 51 totes, 51 catches, 1,167 yards, 9 touchdowns. If you want to know who the kid is against FBS comp, just watch the UAB game, Alabama State versus UAB. He lit the Blazers up like 100%. Now I know it's the UAB Blazers, but it was just the way he's getting to point A to point B. Like, he's one of those guys. You give him efficiency, he's going to be there. Explosion, 22.9 yards per reception. That was the leading in FCS. That's ridiculous, bro. So, he's up there. I would say Montrez Smith, linebacker, for Austin Peay going to Iowa State. He's gonna. We just talked about him.
I need opportunity.
They need opportunity. What better place to come into the situation than Iowa State, where you can show out, and we gonna have no choice but to see you. With the Governors, he did a great job. 74 tackles, 8.5 tackles for a loss. He was active, 4 sacks. When I'm looking at his big play possibility, he can get active on all levels of the field. So it's 3 levels. His play recognition is high. I'm looking at him as a player that they can build around in the middle. Like, you can start finding pieces around him. He's a centerpiece type of guy, FCS to FBS. Nino, what you think about him?
Joe, go. Yes, plug and play right off the rip. Iowa State is going to need these guys to step in with experience, right? Because they need experience.
Yeah, they got 3 years of eligibility remaining.
So they need a guy who in a short amount of time has shown you production, right? He's shown you he can get after it. I think that this gentleman is going to be, if and not in fall camp, winning the starting job within the first couple of weeks, being the starter. And I think he's going to absolutely eat at Iowa State. We'll stay on the defensive side then. You wanted to go defense? I got a defensive guy. I got a defensive guy at a school that's probably ranked in the top 3 in the preseason AP poll. Okay, I'm going to go with a guy who needs to go and replace D'Angelo Pons. Okay, because I don't know Pons going to the NFL. I'm going to go with a dude out of Montana State by the name of Carson Williams. I'm a guy that not only does he get down and dirty like D'Angelo Pons does and get attacked the ball behind the line of scrimmage, a la 8 tackles for loss last season. My man also had 9 pass breakups and 47 tackles. Okay, out of those 47, 35 of those were solo. Leave me on an island, baby. I get after it. I don't need no help. It's me and only. That's what Miss Pons did when he started to show up. When he started to show up and show out, it was lockdown season, right? He could get after it. He could take away the wide receiver. He could take away the runner. He could play it. He could do anything you needed. I think this kid on a team that's got a hole, right? Went after and went out and got Carson Williams. I think Carson Williams is going to be good. If not DB1, DB2, he's going to be starting on one side of him. He's going to be the dude who can, if you test him, you will regret it. Carson Williams will be a starter for the Indiana Hoosiers coming from FCS to FBS, and he's going to be starting right off the rip, impacting a team that will be in the college football playoff.
Right. I'm right there with you, dog. Defensively, there's a kid that went to Bryant. His name is Liam Lindo. Long, rangy corner. Great at ball tracking. The thing I love about him is he has high ball disruption because he always has interceptions, pass breakups. And I know that he's been on multiple stops. He had Bryant on his list, but now he's at NIU. And NIU is making an interesting transition this year. They're going to need players at every level, but they just gain size, maturity, instant competitiveness because you need it, especially after last year. He's a guy that's coming in ready to play. And a guy that I bring in the SEC because, there's people out there. What about the SEC, Mo? All right. Georgia got a guy by the name of Tyquez Richardson that's coming in who didn't give up a single sack in his starts last year.
That's crazy.
0 missed games, too. You got late season drop off that didn't happen. You talk about playing in environments where, those SEC guys have that long bendy range on the outsides. I feel like he could come in and be physical and match that. In Georgia last year, we talked about physicality up front in the offensive line and how they can get back to being the old Georgia Bulldogs or the Georgia Bulldogs of old. I think he can help add to that depth in that room. That could come in and be competitive. I'm not saying whether he's going to win the job right away because Kirby has his own philosophies. But he does add insurance and development for you because the best college football coaches develop.
Facts.
100%. I'm going to add a guy here that I'm sure I'm going to cherry pick off of one of y'all lists, but Joshua Dye, kid from Southern Utah that transferred to Ole Miss. It won't be the immediate impact, but when you talk about you got one of the best backs in the nation already,
1-2 punch.
Lacey, yeah. When you spell both of them, yes, 1,000%. I think he's going to be instant production. Not as immediate as some of the guys you mentioned because he's already got a stud in front of him. But could I see him absolutely getting over 110 carries this year? Absolutely.
For sure.
I got one last
It's a
guy.
perfect situation, too.
Yeah.
And I thought Homeboy was going to drop him because I know we mentioned him multiple times earlier when the portal was popping. I'm going to go with they're already ranked in the top 25 in the preseason, way too early preseason poll that people got out there. And they lost that guy to Indiana, Josh Hoover. I'm going to go with Jaden Craig, the next Ryan Fitzpatrick. I think he wins the TCU job. And I think, what he brings, a lot of experience, right? This 4-year start is his fifth year, like his last year of eligibility. He brings that experience. Almost 3,000 yards, 2,000 yards last year, 25 touchdowns. Not the dual threat guy, but if gets to the goal line, he can get in. He had 3 or 4 rushing touchdowns. I think this kid's experience in a room that team really going to need a lot of help, right? I think bringing him in there because when Hoover was the heart and soul of that offense, and they just plucked that right out of his heart and left it there, beating, spurting out blood. I think, boom. I think Jaden Craig is your nice Frankenstein. You plug him in, play in there, right? He just knows how to knows what to go about his business. I think, we're having Jordan Dwyer and Manjack on the outsides. I think he's primed to have an instant impact. They're going to need it. I don't think that there's a quarterback in the room that can beat him out for the job. I feel like this kid's a day one starter, and like me and Moon was talking about before, he brings that grittiness to him. When the bullets start flying, he does not get scared. Obviously, he has the cerebral capability going to Harvard. But yeah, he's a big body kid that can take the hits. And I think again, the Big 12 defenses are a little sketchy. You're going to get the linebackers that get after it, but I think this kid's built for Big 12 play, and I think he's going to have instant success.
Hey, man. Jaden Craig is one of the guys that when I saw that he moved, I said, Sonny Dykes, you bad son of a gun.
Yep.
Yeah.
How do you do it again? Because it's like, oh, Hoove, okay, go. It's like he let Hoove go be free and said, hey, go win a natty, Hoove. I
got a guy.
Hoove.
Yeah.
I got a guy, though. And he do. You say he's like the best quarterback to come through Harvard in their history? Other than
Since Ryan Fitzpatrick, yep.
The offense is high octane in the scheme and philosophy. I know Governor likes that offense, but you
100%.
need a guy that can push it, have some electricity to him, know how to be a good decision maker, not just because he's smart intellectually, but like on the field, don't have a lot of turnovers.
Right.
That's what I know. You don't put the ball in harm's way a lot. So I love that fit. My last one I would say is another Jaden Allen, going from FCS to CMU football for the Chippewas. He's coming in as a tight end. The family is a friend of the network for CFB Nation. When he actually was in the transfer portal, he was so confident that he was going to make it and said that I want to bank on being in the FCS because I feel like my talent is deserving of it. If you're going to a program that has a high history of putting out tight ends, look at Tyler Conklin, for example, in the league, and most notable, CMU Chippewa. You made a great decision, and I think this could be a spotlight situation for them. I know Chippewas went through a lot last year, bro. Really, the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Because we're still trying to get McElwain out of memory. So, I think he found home. They always say in recruiting, where's home? Jaden Craig made the right home, and Jaden Allen made the right home too.
I'm with it.
I like those. So we're gonna finish up here with our last segment of the day. Nino's been killing these graphics. We've been doing our cumulative rankings. If you have not seen our Big Ten top running backs rankings, here it is. We got Antwan Raymond at number 1, Bo Jackson at number 2. We got Darius Taylor from Minnesota. He's been a constant guy up there in Minnesota. We got Jordan Davison at 4. We got Carson Hansen at 5. We got Kamari Moulton at 6. We got Caleb Komolafe at 7. King Miller, bro. I was upset when I seen my dog was at 8. Jordan Marshall at 9. And Wayne Knight is at 10. So how does our cumulative list compare to your individual list? And who's too high and too low, in your opinion?
I was happy, and I think we're one of the only outlets that probably have Antwan Raymond as the top Big Ten back. I think a lot of people are just going by, Arthur Smith being the offensive coordinator at Ohio State, Bo Jackson's production in the small size last year, and obviously Arthur Smith is just run heavy. So, and granted, I get it, but what I see out of Antwan Raymond is just kind of some things I wrote down. Burst. Like, for a guy that's, 5'11", 205, 207 pounds, he got some burst coming out the hole. He's may not have the fanciest of feet, but his feet are constantly always going. Like, this guy's he's agile on his feet. 3-down back. This is a dude that I've seen gain first downs on 4th down multiple times for Rutgers. People want to say, oh, it was a nice, segue from Kyle Montague. I think he was better and is better than Kyle Montague. I don't think that Kyle Montague had as much shimmy or shake as Antwan Raymond. I don't know if Kyle Montague was as hard-nosed of a runner. Like, Antwan Raymond just reminds me of that old school back with some shake to him. You know, if Steven Jackson was a little bit smaller, like
Antwan Raymond,
that would be Antwan Raymond. Like, Steven Jackson was just a muscle. Like, all right, a guy that the muscle hamster, right? Dougie Martin. Raymond gives me that. He's got that juice to him. Doug Martin had some juice to him. I mean, Antwan Raymond isn't as big as Dougie was, but like He's got some size to him. He's got his yak ability. Like 3/4 of his yards came out 884 yards out of 1,300
After contact.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, he's not a liability in the pass, bro. Right? He Rutgers, really didn't throw him the ball as often as you would like, but he can receive the ball. He's definitely your goal line back, and he's a guy that doesn't need to come off the field. I'm just super surprised at like the fact that outlets aren't talking about how. I know it's Rutgers, right? And they're not putting out as many guys as everybody else is to the NFL, but we've seen Kyle Montague have success at the next level. And he damn near forced 2 or 3 backs out of Chicago out when he got drafted, and what he can do. I think Antwan Raymond, by the end of the season, if not middle of the year, it's going to be one or two for production in the Big Ten.
The best running back in the Big Ten. You don't have to feel like it's like you're tipping on eggshells, bro. You can say it 100%. He does go to Rutgers. The best running back in the Big Ten goes to Rutgers University.
Moon, it's just crazy for me because when I made my list, the 2 guys that I was so happy about and jumped off the screen to me with, I think have the biggest ceiling this year. And I know SC's watching; he's going to hate me because Jordan Davison's this guy, and I was very happy about Jordan Davison. And he has so much upside and so much potential to tap into. But Antwan Raymond and Caleb Komolafe, those 2 guys for me, I think have the biggest upside out of our list, and I think they just kind of tapped into their potential. Both these guys are similar, so I think that maybe that's why I like them. But I'll let Moon talk about something that he has on his list that he's excited about before I start talking about Komolafe.
Antwan Raymond had 244 carries, 1,241 yards, 13 touchdowns, 225 more yards receiving, and 2 more scores. That's 8th most in Rutgers history in a single season. And Manganung guy just left. Like, it's crazy how the rich just keep getting richer. I want to talk about a guy that should have been higher on the list, in my opinion, on the CFB Nation list. King Miller should be top 3. King Miller should be top 3 in my list. I think he has a lot more than just his production. Because is it true he came on as a walk-on?
I believe so.
Got a scholarship towards the end of the season, and I'm saying to myself, all right, USC have a feature back. Now, USC's running back room is loaded this year. We got King, and then they got 2 other running backs that's competing to get some snaps. I think Lincoln Riley's in a happy situation right now. King Miller, though, we had him on the list, Nino.
I think he's 7.
7? I would have had him.
8, actually. He's 8. King Miller's 8. I think it was because it was a small sample size because he kind of took over later half of the year after the injuries happened.
Yeah. And when you get more people getting injuries and more banged up towards the end of the year, then now you can have opportunities start to be maximized. And that's exactly what happened with King Miller in that situation. Where you have Darius Taylor on your individual list, because Darius Taylor's production by himself can make me scream like top 3.
I had him at 3.
You had him at 3.
The way this runs out 1, 2, 3 was my 3. That's how I had it 1, 2, 3. So I listen. If you could tell me without a shadow of a doubt, with no concerns, I could walk through hellfire and brimstone and not be scarred, that Darius Taylor was not going to be injured for 1 play next year, I probably would have put him at 1. Because when he is healthy, what he can put, we've seen that sophomore season when he was healthy. Man, that boom.
His freshman season in 2023 was even crazier too.
No, it was the freshman season. Yeah, that's what it was. The freshman season. The sophomore season was shortened, but at the end of the year, he got hurt again, right?
Yeah.
When he's healthy and stays on the field, he is a menace and a problem for any defense. Doesn't have to be, Big 10, Big 12, SEC. He is a problem for any defense, healthy. But there are multiple injury concerns.
Yeah, because he missed the Cal game, the Rutgers game, the Iowa game ended early. Michigan State game missed entirely. So, but peep this, though. Even in a banged-up year, even in a limited year, he still produced, though. The Nebraska game, 148 yards and a tutty. Like, You need that in my life. Wisconsin injected in my veins when he popped off for that 49-yard touchdown. Oregon, sorry. See, but my boy went kind of crazy. Well, in at least in those standards, due to what he was dealing with 97 all purpose. I like Darius Taylor on the list. He runs with violence. I like kids that run violent, run angry. Bo Jackson at 2 kind of fits that same mold.
Mm-hmm.
Raymond hit that same mold. Is there any guys outside of the top 5 on our list that you feel need to be discussed in more depth?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to talk about him a little bit. I'm a little nervous for Carson Hansen really quick. I don't know if him taking that jump from the Big 12 to the Big 10 suits his style of running. I think he might be better off with a running companion. If you know, I don't know if Carson Hansen could be the lead back, be the workhorse. But a guy that I wanted to talk about was the guy I kind of mentioned, is Komolafe out of Northwestern. I mean,
dude,
5'11", 210. This guy's built like a brick shit house. I mean, nothing out of Northwestern in the past couple of years has been something to look up for, right? Like, you haven't been excited. I'm excited for this kid. I'm excited for the fact that they now have 2 quarterbacks possibly that are mobile to kind of be able to spread him out a little bit more and give him some more lanes, maybe in one-on-ones. You look at a guy that had 938 yards, 10 touchdowns on the ground last year. You're looking at a guy that had 600. Yeah, that's 3/4 of his yards came after contact. He probably has a top 10 jump cut in college football as a running back. It is
I actually
deadly.
don't feel like that's a bad take rater.
And people will be like, "Oh, who? Oh, Komolafe? What? Like, this kid, when he comes out of that hole, if you commit and he gets you to lean your weight and he cuts you, boy, it's going to be a highlight. And you're going to look dumb. And all of a sudden now he's got 3-4 yards of separation and continuing on with the play. I like guys that have, at any moment in time, can break away. And when this dude was on the field, he represented a 33.4% breakaway rate, and I am all for it. I think this kid, the sky is the limit for him.
Mm-hmm.
I think out of some of these guys in the middle of the pack here, he's not a one-style runner. He can run in the A and the B gap. He can also beat you to the outside. He has enough speed to beat the outside edge. He also has enough speed to kind of break away once he pulls through the first level. And he has the body size to take those
hold
hits.
Up all those.
Yeah. He can 5'11", say 6 foot. He can get small when it comes to getting in the trenches, and all of a sudden pop out of there and
they
go.
call it getting skinny.
Yeah. He got vision. He sees. He kind of has great anticipation. I think people aren't talking about him enough because he's a Northwestern running back. But if you look at the middle of the season, my man was just eating up chunks of yards in 2025. And I think with what kind of have going on now, new regime in Northwestern, they're going to want to go with, something that's sturdy, because you have questions at quarterback. Is it going to be Aiden Childs? Is it going to be Nico Markall? Like, who's it going to be? You know what you got at the running back position.
That's one question mark. There's so many of them, like you just said, but that's one position you do not have to have any questions about in Northwestern.
I think they're returning 2 or 3 of their offensive linemen from last season. So, man, I think you're playing in your puzzle here. You're putting all your pieces together. I think, Komolafe is that centerpiece just kind of finished. I think he's going to be the guy that's going to get a bulk of the carries. I think we're going to see him go over 1,000 yards, somewhere around 1,100 yards. I think he has a possibility to get 15 touchdowns in this offense. And I think he's a possibility. You're going to be like, holy shit, he's a top 5 running back in the Big Ten, in the Big Ten this year.
I mean, honestly, would not be surprised if that does happen. In Northwestern fans, I mean, there's a name, Evan Hall, ring a bell. Yeah. This guy, he's not the same body type or, a player, but that's the last time that we felt something, legit and good for real, for a Northwestern running attack. And you can get behind Komolafe a lot. Jordan Davison, I think Jordan Davison is the package complete. Like, pass blocking, a back who can catch, a back that can pass protect, a back who can carry the ball 25 times if I need him to. a back that can run through arm tackles because, all those safeties and corners want to come down and play little pity pat. A back that also can let blocks develop. He has that burst. You talk about burst is one of your favorite things when he hits that hole, but he has the power and his frame matches that. I have high hopes on Jordan Davison in 2026, especially, but I feel like it's just licking his chops with this offense again, especially with Dante coming back.
Yeah. I love Jordan Davison. I've been a Jordan Davison fan before he even committed to Oregon. I told SC, watch out for this dude. I know you're excited for what we got. I just watch out for this dude because he has the talent to come in there and take over the room. And he kind of did. And ask Mr. Hughes, made him transfer schools. But the reason why I didn't have him in my top 3, and people will say, well, Bo Jackson, Dyer Hill. Dyer Hill Jr. is a guy who demands carries. He's not going to let Jordan Davison just take that role away from him. So I've seen games where Hill had better games than Davison last season. So that was kind of why I had to keep him out. And it was hard for me not to put Dyer Hill on the list, but I had to put Wayne Knight on the list. I felt like he's kind of set up at UCLA to have a better year than what he had at James Madison. Obviously, following his coach is going there, so like, but I think Wayne Knight will be all right. But yeah, Davison, Dyer Hill was kind of the main reason why I had to keep him on at the top 3. I know Bo Jackson has a counterpart there, but we saw Bo Jackson in a room full of backs and guys that are going to the next level, eat and demand targets. So I just. I like the violent runners. Davidson's a violent runner, but he's right on that cusp of being in my top 3. He could very well be, number 2 this year. Say he gets hot and they just ride the hot hand, because Dante's going to be commanding the offense again. He could. I think guys like Raymond, Komolafe, Moulton out of Iowa,
Caleb.
Yeah, these guys. There's not really anybody in their way.
Nah, they got a clear path to touches, clear path to taking over. Clear
and
path
you've seen production already, Moon, and you've seen what they can do. I'd be surprised if all 3 of those guys don't go for 1,100 or more yards next year.
I would be too, honestly. Jordan Marshall, Michigan. There's just a specific type of running back that Ohio produces.
Yeah. But here's my thing with Jordan Marshall. We saw what he did in the last 5 games of the season, doing nuclear, right? Yeah, there was that one game I think he went for 125 and 2 touchdowns. But why'd they go get Taylor Tatum?
Depth.
They got plenty of depth, and Davidson still got 2 years left of eligibility. I mean, Marshall still got 2 years left of eligibility. So
Haynes just left. He with my
true.
team now. If you talk about competition, technically, but I mean, he showcased that he can be like 2024 was a glimpse of it. You talk about the kick returns, the Reliant Quest Bowl, like doing a lot that showed up in moments where we could get excited heading into 2025. 2025, it was just like lifting up the veil and saying, "Hello, welcome to the world." Jordan Marshall.
Don't they have a 5-star running back there too?
They got talent.
Is Savion Hitter there?
They got talent.
Savion's here, right? Savion Hitter. He's still committed to Michigan. Like he should be a freshman this year, right? Like I could have sworn this dude was like, if not one.
This is what you do. This is what you do. As soon as we get more talent in the building, you will see a man's talent just show up on the screen. You will see the man's talent. You'd be like, we just got a 5-star. It's no country for old men.
Because the way I look at it, and the only team that really didn't do it was Alabama. Like, if they had a dog and he was their dog, like he was their dog. Nah, Josh Jacobs struggled to get on the fucking field, bro. And then you look at and then he had 1 year and he went nuclear. Like every other team, when they go out and get a guy who was the number 1 running back in his class, Taylor Tatum 2 years ago, and then they get the number 1 running back in the next this other class, makes me think, all right, do you not trust the kid that was a top 3 running back in his class? So like, who's producing? Why we got to get so much?
Because the rich get richer.
Look at what Justice Haynes said, though. You brought in way too much for me last year. Like, around me. I could have ate more.
I mean,
you ain't going to tell me that Sharon Moore leaving was the reason why Justice Haynes left.
No, like, it was more than that.
He wanted a better opportunity. He wanted more carries. He wanted to be the guy. Michigan doesn't really just give it to one dude, right? It's been how many years since they've even given the ball to one guy and said, yo, my guy.
Their offense and how they're constructed makes that the case. You know, they're going to recruit that position heavily, continuously. So I wouldn't be surprised if they continue to crank out 4 and 5 stars at that position.
And my other red flag is, what if Bryce Underwood's development takes the next step?
In the passing game?
It's got to. That's why they wanted him at LSU. He went to LSU originally because he wanted to develop as a passer. He doesn't want to be Anthony Richardson, bro.
Their offense is going to evolve, and that could be another reason why Justice Haynes said, "Oh, y'all switching to more of a okay. I'm going to Atlanta." Like that's what it is, because I want to be at some place that's gonna give me the ball 250 plus times.
Yeah, and
I don't have to sit here and think about it. I can sleep amazing at nighttime, knowing that I could do that.
Agreed.
Yeah.
That's my concern. Those are some of the reasons why I'm like, I don't know.
You know why I don't have concerns? Wayne Knight actually, did, how we had Carson Hansen following Campbell, right? You said you didn't really feel that, like, that move, if it's gonna be looked at as a linear move or even a downgrade. For Wayne Knight's situation, I don't think the question in 2026 isn't whether Wayne Knight can play at the level of the Big Ten competition. I think he can increase in showcasing that he has increased his level of play every single stop, every year. I think it's whether JMU's staff that came over, now the UCLA staff under Chesney, is going to trust him in the same capacity that they did with James Madison. Are you going to give him 207 carries? Are you going to design screen passes and swing passes to help get him in space like we saw in the college football playoff? Like, are we going to be able to use his 5'7" build as an advantage with our build of our offensive line, because the defense lose track of him all the time because they can't find him. They can't find him. So I think that's the question that I'm looking forward to being answered in 2026 with UCLA and Wayne Knight. He rounded out our top 10. You want to go back through our top 10 again?
Yeah, I'll write it off real quick before we wrap things up here. At 1, we got Antwan Raymond, Rutgers. 2, Bo Jackson, Ohio State. 3, Darius Taylor, Minnesota. 4, Jordan Davison, Oregon. 5, Carson Hansen, Penn State. 6, Kamari Moulton, Iowa. 7, Caleb Komolafe, Northwestern. 8, King Miller, USC. 9, Jordan Marshall, Michigan. And then 10, Wayne Knight, UCLA.
Man, I would say final thoughts. King Miller, I'll probably have him higher than just what our list was, but I feel like it's just perfect moment, seizing the opportunity. Sidebar, I found out during research that his uncles are Dr. Dre and Warren G. Yeah. Like, this man comes from a crazy lineage. And it's just superstardom right here. Like, that's crazy. Crazy.
Just gonna bring more and more of the big ones there. Next week we'll be talking about top Big 12 wide receivers. Get ready for some wild takes. I think we're gonna be kind of throwing some. I think there's gonna be a lot of controversy on who's listed and who's high and who's not on. After we go through the consensus, I think when we go individual lists, it's going to be a little bit like, whoa, oh, okay. But yeah, tune in next week. This is a great show, Moon.
Yes, sir.
I love, these episodes where we get to chop things up. Yes, I know we got something brewing in the pot coming up soon.
They got a little preview of what it was going to be like coming up.
Yeah, at the end here when KT had to leave. But it's going to be it's going to be interesting. I can't wait for next week's episode when we start talking about Big 12.
Somebody going to get grilled because we're going to have to see, did my guy Cam Perry make the list?
Ooh.
How high is Danny Scudero? Because we got Colorado people watching. Tune in and watch and see.
Is the Big 12 the conference of the white wide receiver? and I'm closing out with this, Moon. It's criminal that USC asked Matt Leinart to unretire his number, and we're closing the show just like that.
Yes, sir. Today I am the governor of college football. Yes, sir. The mayor of college football, a.k.a. Downtown Nino Brown. Yes, sir.